A millionaire's contract marriage with a bride bound by a deal changes when she speaks honestly. The morning bell above the bakery door does not ring. It never does at 5:43 a.m. Ovens glow like quiet suns. Butter melts. Sugar dust hangs in the air. A young woman works alone, sleeves rolled, eyes burning from a night without sleep. She presses dough flat with steady hands, counting breaths, not money. Outside, a black car idles at the curb, engine low, patient. The door opens without apology. A man steps inside, wearing a tailored coat that does not belong in a room that smells like bread. He does not look at the pastries. He does not smile. He places a thick folder on the worn wooden counter. A contract. Not for flour. Not for rent. For marriage. The woman freezes, hands dusted white. The ovens hum louder. Nothing is explained. Nothing is promised. And in that quiet bakery, before the sun rises, a single question hangs in the air. What's going to happen to them? Hello, everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. The camera stays low at counter height. Her name is Claire. She owns this bakery. It is small, narrow, and always warm, even in winter. The kind of place that survives on early mornings and regulars who pay in cash. She has flour on her cheek and a phone vibrating in her pocket that she does not answer. Across from her stands Ethan Hale. He is a millionaire. Everyone in the city knows his name. Technology, infrastructure, boards and headlines. The kind of man whose time costs more than most people earn in a week. But right now, he is standing in a bakery that does not even have a working sign. Ethan slides the folder closer. This is a legal marriage contract, he says, calm, precise. It is temporary. It is clean. It benefits both of us. Claire does not open it. She looks past him toward the back room, where a small door is half closed. On the other side of that door, her younger brother sleeps on a narrow couch, an intravenous pump clicking softly beside him. Hospital bills sit folded in her apron pocket. Rent is due on Friday. Ethan watches her carefully. He does not rush. Men like him never do. You will receive full medical coverage for your brother, he continues, and capital to keep this bakery open. In return, you will be my wife in name only. You will attend events. You will smile when required. And you will remain silent. Claire finally opens the folder. Pages flip. Terms are clear. Dates are marked. One clause is underlined. No public statements. No interviews. No personal disclosures. Claire's fingers pause on the page. Once, years ago, she lived inside words like these. Once she was a lawyer. A good one. Until her name was dragged through a scandal she did not survive. Until silence became safer than truth. The ovens beep. A timer ends. Bread is ready. Claire closes the folder. She looks at Ethan for the first time. If I say no, she asks quietly, you walk away. Yes, Ethan answers. Immediately. She nods. Not because she agrees, but because she understands. The bell still does not ring as the door closes behind him. Claire stands alone again, staring at the contract on her counter, knowing that once she signs, nothing in her life will ever be small again. And she has not decided yet. The morning does not slow down. Claire keeps working as if nothing has happened. She slides loaves into paper bags, wipes the counter, flips the sign to open at 7 sharp. Regulars begin to arrive, one by one, nodding, smiling, unaware that her life has just split into 2 possible futures. Her phone vibrates again. This time she answers. The hospital number fills the screen. She steps in the back room, closing the door gently behind her. The sound of the bakery fades, replaced by the soft mechanical rhythm of the infusion pump beside the couch. Her brother, Leo, sleeps on his side, thin, pale, his chest rising unevenly. Miss Carter, the nurse says on the line, professional but careful. We need to talk about your brother's treatment plan. Claire presses her forehead against the wall. The doctor joins the call. The words come slowly. Adjusted medication. Additional testing. A procedure that can no longer be delayed. There is a window, the doctor explains, but the deposit is required within 10 days. 10 days. Claire thanks them. Her voice does not shake. She hangs up and stands still for a long moment, breathing in the smell of yeast and coffee drifting through the door. 10 days is not time. It is a countdown. She opens the small metal box beneath the counter where she keeps receipts and folded bills. She already knows what she will find. Not enough. Not even close. The bakery has been bleeding quietly for months. Rising costs. Fewer customers. Late nights turning into early mornings. Every dollar that comes and leaves just as fast, redirected toward hospital invoices stamped in red. This bakery is not a dream. It is survival. Claire glances at the contract resting where Ethan left it, untouched, heavy. She does not open it again. She does not need to. She remembers the last time she signed something without reading between the lines. Years ago, a different building. Glass walls. Conference rooms that smelled like leather and money. She had been a junior attorney then, sharp, careful, trusted, until a senior partner needed a scapegoat, until evidence disappeared and whispers replaced facts. Her license had not been taken. Her reputation had. Clients vanished. Firms stopped calling. Friends stopped asking questions. Silence became the only way forward. She left the city, changed her routine, learned how to work with her hands instead of her words. Claire looks at her hands now. Burn marks, calluses, honest damage. At noon, she closes the bakery for an hour and walks 3 blocks to the hospital. The halls are bright and cold. Leo is awake this time, trying to smile. "Did you saw today?" he asks. "Almost." Claire lies gently, tucking the blanket around his legs. He studies her face, too perceptive for his age. "You look scared," he says. Claire swallows. "I'm just tired." Leo reaches for her hand. His grip is weak but determined. "You should not sell the bakery," he whispers. "It makes you happy." He hesitates. Then his fingers tighten around hers. "What if they stop helping because of me?" Leo asks suddenly. Claire freezes. This is the fear she never lets him say out loud. The words land heavier than any contract. That evening, as the sun sets a black, car pulls up outside the bakery again. Ethan steps out, same coat, same calm. Claire watches him through the glass. Customers are still inside. He waits. He always waits. When the last customer leaves, Ethan enters. "I'm not here to pressure you," he says immediately. "I am here because time matters." Claire finally opens the contract. The terms are exact. The benefits are real. Medical coverage begins immediately. Funds are transferred within 48 hours of signing. Her eyes stop on the clause about silence. She looks up. "You are buying more than a marriage," she says quietly. "You are buying my voice." Ethan does not deny it. "I am buying stability," he replies. "For both of us." Claire closes the folder again. Outside, the streetlights flicker on. Inside, the oven's cool. She knows what the contract will save. She also knows what it will cost. And for the first time since leaving the law, Claire wonders which loss will hurt more. The contract stays on the counter overnight. Claire does not touch it. She closes the bakery late, long after the street outside goes quiet. When the lights are off and the ovens are cold, she sits alone at the small wooden table near the back, the one she usually uses to balance receipts and supplier invoices. Tonight, she opens a different drawer. Inside is a thin folder, edges bent, paper yellowed with time. It does not look important. No logo, no seal, just a name written in black ink across the front. Her name. Claire opens it slowly. Court transcripts, email printouts, a sworn statement she never got to finish reading out loud. The date stopped 3 years ago, frozen at the exact moment her life broke apart. Back then, she wore suits, not aprons. Her mornings began with elevators and security badges, not dough and ovens. She had been young, careful, and very good at her job. She believed rules protected people who followed them. She was wrong. The case had been simple at first. Corporate misconduct. Financial manipulation hidden behind layers of shell companies. Claire had noticed an inconsistency in the documents, something her supervising partner had missed or pretended not to see. When she asked questions, The room had gone quiet. A week later, the inconsistency was gone. Files were altered, access logs were erased, and an anonymous complaint appeared, accusing her of professional misconduct. By the time she realized what was happening, the story had already been written without her. The firm denied responsibility. Colleagues stopped answering messages. A client withdrew testimony. The partner she trusted testified calmly, convincingly against her. Claire remembers standing in that hearing room, waiting for someone to say her name with belief behind it. No one did. Her license had not been revoked, but did not matter. No firm would touch her. No case would come her way. In law, reputation is oxygen. Once it is poisoned, you suffocate slowly. Claire closes the folder and leans back, eyes fixed on the ceiling. That was when she left. The city, the profession, the version of herself that believed truth was always enough. The bakery came later. At first, it was temporary, something quiet, something that did not require explaining who she used to be. Over time, it became a shelter, a place where names did not matter as much as effort. She stands and walks to the front window, looking out at the empty street. The reflection staring back at her does not look like a lawyer anymore. But the mind behind her eyes never stopped thinking like one. Her phone vibrates. A message from Ethan. I need an answer tomorrow. No greeting. No pressure. Just a fact. Claire sets the phone down and opens the contract again, this time reading it line by line, the way she was trained to. Every word is intentional. Every silence is engineered. This contract does not just restrict her speech. It protects him. If she signs, she becomes legally bound to discretion. Her past, her knowledge, her instincts will all be locked behind clauses designed by teams of lawyers far more powerful than she ever was. She understands the irony immediately. A former lawyer, signing away her voice. Claire closes the folder with steady hands. The next morning, she walks Leo to his appointment. The hospital smells like disinfectant and waiting. He squeezes her hand as they sit side by side. You look like you're thinking too hard again, he says softly. Claire smiles. That is my specialty. He watches her for a moment, then asks, Are you scared? She considers lying. She always does. Yes, she answers instead. Leo nods as if that is enough. When they return to the bakery, the black car is already there. Ethan stands outside, checking his watch. When he sees her, he straightens. Claire unlocks the door and gestures for him to enter. She does not offer coffee. She does not offer bread. She places the contract on the counter between them. There is something you should know, she says. Ethan looks up, alert now. I'm not just a bakery owner, Claire continues, voice calm, controlled. And if I sign this, it will not be because I do not understand what I'm giving up. Ethan studies her carefully, as if seeing her for the first time. Then tell me, he says. Claire meets his gaze, and for the first time in years, she considers stepping back into the truth she once walked away from. Ethan does not interrupt her. That is the first thing Claire notices. Most men like him fill silence quickly. They explain. They negotiate. They regain control with words. Ethan simply listens, eyes steady, posture still, as if this conversation matters more than the deal sitting between them. I was a lawyer, Claire says. Corporate litigation. Financial misconduct. Ethan's expression does not change, but something sharpens behind his eyes. I'm not anymore, she continues. Not because I was incompetent. Not because I broke the law. But because I trusted the wrong people and refused to stay quiet when I should have. She does not raise her voice. She does not dramatize it. The story comes out clean, restrained, like testimony. Ethan finally speaks. Why are you telling me this now? Because your contract demands silence, Claire replies. And silence has already cost me once. He nods slowly. And if you sign, it will not happen again. That depends, she says, on who the silence protects. The air between them tightens. Ethan opens the folder himself this time, flipping directly to the clauses he knows by heart. This marriage is not personal, he explains. It is structural. My board requires stability. Certain investors require optics. A wife removes variables. Claire hears the truth beneath the language. You need me to be invisible, she says. I need you to be controlled. Ethan answers, honest now. There is a difference. Claire studies him, not as a woman considering marriage, but as a lawyer reading a witness. Do you know what happens when you silence the wrong person? She asks. Ethan looks up. Enlighten me. You build pressure, Claire says. And pressure always finds a fault line. Ethan watches her for a long moment. You did not tell me everything, he says. Claire does not deny it. She only replies, I told you what I was allowed to survive. For the first time, Ethan hesitates. That night, Claire signs. Not because she believes him, but because 10 days have become 9. The wedding is quiet, efficient. No romance, no spectacle. Paperwork first, rings later. A courthouse with neutral walls and a judge who does not ask personal questions. Claire wears a simple dress she already owns. Ethan wears a suit that looks like it belongs anywhere. When the judge pronounces them married, nothing changes immediately. The world does not pause. No music swells. But something irreversible has been set in motion. The money arrives exactly when promised. Medical coverage is approved. Leo's treatment schedule is confirmed. The bakery account stops blinking red. Claire exhales for the first time in weeks. The contract, however, does not loosen. Within days, she is introduced to Ethan's world. Not gently, not gradually. She is measured, watched, corrected. At her first formal event, a woman she does not recognize adjusts Claire's posture and whispers instructions without asking her name. Smile here. Do not answer that. Stand closer to him. Claire complies, not because she is weak, because she is observing. She notices how questions slide off Ethan and land on her instead. How assumptions fill the space her silence leaves behind. How easily people decide what she must be. Later that night, alone in a guest bedroom larger than her entire apartment used to be, Claire rereads the contract. Clause after clause restricts her voice. No statements. No clarifications. No independent communication. She understands it fully now. This contract is not just protection. It is insulation. Ethan is not hiding her. He is hiding behind her. The realization does not make her angry. It makes her careful. Days pass. Meetings. Dinners. Controlled smiles. She still wakes before dawn, instinctively reaching for an oven that is no longer there. She visits the bakery when she can, grounding herself in flour and heat, reminding herself who she was before the contract. One evening, she overhears raised voices through Ethan's office door. Words leak out. Acquisition. Lawsuit. Regulatory review. She stops. Listens. Patterns form immediately in her mind. Gaps. Risks. An approach that is aggressive, not precise. She steps back before anyone sees her. That night, she says nothing. Not because she has nothing to say, but because she understands the rules better than anyone else in the room. Silence, when chosen, is power, and Claire has not forgotten how to use it. As she lies awake, staring at a ceiling that does not feel like hers, one thought settles clearly. This contract may have bought her silence, but did not erase her mind. And soon, someone is going to need it. The rhythm of Claire's days splits cleanly in two. Mornings still belong to the bakery. She wakes before sunrise, drives across town, and unlocks the familiar door with the same key she has used for years. The ovens greet her with heat and patience. Flour dusts her sleeves. For a few hours, she is not Mrs. Hale. She is simply Claire, measuring dough by touch, listening to timers, answering customers who know her by name. They do not ask about the ring. They ask about rye, about cinnamon rolls, about whether Leo is feeling better. Claire answers honestly here. This is the only place she still can. By noon, she washes her hands, changes clothes, and steps back into Ethan's world. The contrast is jarring every time. Glass buildings, drivers opening doors before she reaches them, assistants who speak quickly and expect compliance without introduction, schedules printed on thick paper, arranged to the minute. At her first major gala as Ethan's wife, the room is a study in quiet judgment. Crystal glasses clink softly. Laughter is controlled, measured. Claire feels eyes on her the moment she enters. Not curiosity. Assessment. She stands beside Ethan, posture perfect, smile practiced. Someone asks where she is from. Originally, the woman presses, lips tight with interest. Claire glances at Ethan. He does not look back. I run a bakery, Claire answers. The woman blinks, then recovers. How charming, she says, and turns away. Claire understands a message clearly. She does not belong. Throughout the evening, questions circle her without landing. People speak around her, about her, through her. Assumptions fill every gap her silence creates. Gold digger. Temporary. Purchased. She hears it all without hearing a single word spoken aloud. Ethan remains composed. He shakes hands. He reassures investors. He plays his role perfectly. And Claire notices something else. When tension rises, when voices lower and conversations turn sharp, Ethan's gaze shifts, briefly, unconsciously, toward her, as if expecting something, as if waiting. He does not speak to her about it afterward. The next day, she overhears a phone call in his office. The door is not fully closed. Regulators are not convinced. A voice says on the other end, if this goes public, the board will fracture. Claire stops walking. She does not intend to listen, but she cannot stop herself. Ethan's response is controlled. We will handle it internally. When the call ends, Claire steps away. That night, she sits in the guest bedroom with a notebook she has not used in years. She does not write names. She does not write accusations. She writes structures, timelines, cause and effect. Patterns emerge quickly. She closes the notebook and does not mention it. The bakery continues to struggle, but it breathes. Leo's treatment begins to show progress. The contract is doing exactly what it promised. At another event, a board member corners Claire near the bar. You must feel very lucky, he says, smiling thinly, to be chosen. Claire meets his eyes. Chosen for what? For this life? He replies. Not everyone gets rescued. The word lands hard. Claire does not correct him. Later that evening, a minor crisis erupts. A partner threatens to walk. Voices rise. A misunderstanding escalates dangerously fast. Ethan steps aside with his team. Claire stands alone, watching the situation unravel. She sees it instantly. A single clause in a preliminary agreement, misinterpreted, now weaponized. A fix exists. Simple, legal, clean. She walks to Ethan. I'm not allowed to speak, she says quietly. But you should ask your counsel to review Section 12, subsection C. The language creates exposure you do not see yet. Ethan looks at her, startled. Why, he asks. Because if you push forward, Claire answers, you will lose. He studies her for a long second, then nods. Minutes later, the crisis dissolves. The partner stays. The room relaxes. No one thanks Claire. No one even notices. But Ethan does. That night, he knocks on her door. You saw something my team did not, he says. Yes, Claire replies. Why did you help me? She considers the question. Because it was the right thing to do, she answers. Not because of the contract. Ethan does not respond immediately. As he walks away, Claire realizes something important. In this world, silence makes her small, but knowledge makes her dangerous. And for the first time since signing the contract, the balance between them begins to shift. The shift does not happen loudly. It happens in fragments. Ethan begins asking questions that are not meant for his board. He asks Claire what she thinks, casually at first, as if testing a theory. A comment made in passing while reviewing schedules. A glance toward her during a tense call, waiting to see if she reacts. She does not volunteer opinions. She answers only when asked. And when she does, she is precise. A regulatory notice arrives on a Monday morning. Not public yet, but close. Too close. Ethan's legal team assures him it is manageable. Standard procedure. Temporary friction. Claire reads the summary once and feels a familiar tightening in her chest. This is not friction, she says quietly that evening. It is leverage. Ethan looks up from his tablet. Explain. She does. Slowly. Carefully. She outlines how the inquiry can be widened. How silence will be interpreted as avoidance. How a single internal email, taken out of context, could collapse years of careful construction. Ethan listens. When she finishes, the room is very still. You are right, he says finally. Why are you right? Claire hesitates. The answer is simple. Dangerous. Because I have seen this before, she says. From the other side, he studies her, weighing trust against control. I need your help, Ethan says. Not as a demand, as a statement of fact. I am not allowed to help, Claire replies, nodding toward the invisible weight of the contract. Ethan exhales. Then help me without being seen. That is how it begins. Claire works at night, after events, after phone calls end. She reviews documents quietly, identifying risk without leaving fingerprints. She suggests strategy without authorship. She drafts language that others deliver. She never appears in meetings. No one knows she is there. The irony does not escape her. A woman once destroyed for speaking up is now saving a corporation by staying silent. The rescue is not dramatic. It is methodical, clause by clause, choice by choice. Each correction prevents a larger collapse. Ethan starts sleeping less. So does Claire. In the quiet hours between midnight and dawn, they sit at opposite ends of a long table, papers spread out between them. There is no touching, no homancy, only focus. You should be in that room, Ethan says one night, frustration breaking through. You are doing the work. Claire does not look up. And if I step into that room, your board will stop listening. That is not fair, he says. No, she replies calmly. It is accurate. He does not argue. The pressure outside grows. Rumors leak. Investors call. The word investigation appears in messages not meant to be shared. Ethan holds the line publicly. Claire holds it privately. One afternoon, she visits the bakery between meetings. The ovens are on. A new employee struggles with a batch of dough. Claire steps in without thinking, guiding hands, correcting quietly. This is who she is when no one is watching. Later that night, Leo asks her why she looks tired again. I thought things were better, he says. They are, Claire answers. Just heavier. Ethan notices the toll before she admits it. You cannot keep doing this alone, he tells her one evening. I'm not alone, she replies. I am unseen. There is a difference. The crisis reaches a breaking point during a board dinner. A member raises a question that should not have been asked yet. The tone shifts. Suspicion sharpens. Ethan feels the room turn. Claire sits beside him, silent, aware that this is the moment. One wrong answer will cost him everything. She leans in, barely moving her lips. Do not defend, she whispers. Redirect. Ask for an independent review. If you resist now, you confirm their fears. Ethan follows her advice. The tension breaks. Not completely, but enough. Afterward, in the car, Ethan closes his eyes. You just saved me, he says. Claire looks out the window. No, I delayed the damage. Why? He asks again. She answers without hesitation this time. Because if you fall, she says, the truth never comes out. And then this was all for nothing. Ethan opens his eyes and looks at her. For the first time, he sees not a contract bride, not an obligation, not a solution. He sees a woman carrying the weight of a system that once crushed her, choosing to hold it together anyway. The rescue has already happened. No one applauded. No one noticed. But the balance has shifted beyond repair. And soon, the silence that saved him is going to demand its price. The first leak appears on a Thursday morning. Not a headline. Not yet. Just a question posted anonymously on a financial forum, buried beneath market chatter and speculation. Why does Ethan Hale's wife have a sealed disciplinary record from the state bar? Claire sees on her phone while standing behind the bakery counter, weighing flour. Her hands stop moving. The scale keeps blinking. She refreshes the page. More comments appear. Screenshots. Half-truths stitched together with confidence. Former attorney. Ethics complaint. Quiet departure. The story does not say she was cleared. It does not say evidence vanished. It does not say who benefited. It does not have to. By noon, Ethan's assistant calls. Do not post anything, she says quickly. We are handling it. Claire hangs up and closes the bakery early. Across town, Ethan is already in crisis mode. Calls stack on his desk. Advisors speak in overlapping sentences. The word narrative comes up more than once. Someone wanted this out. and someone timed it carefully. By evening, the story has teeth. A business outlet publishes a short piece. No accusations, just questions. The most dangerous kind. Investors begin to call. Board members send polite but pointed messages. Ethan reads the article once, then again. When Claire arrives home, he is waiting. They are using you, he says. To get to me. They're using the truth, Claire replies calmly. The version that survived. Ethan runs a hand through his hair. Why did you not tell me everything? I told you enough, she answers. You did not ask for more. Silence stretches between them. By morning, the board calls for an emergency session. Claire is not invited. She watches coverage from the bakery, the television volume low. Analysts speculate. Commentators smile sympathetically while dissecting her past. She hears her name spoken by strangers as if it belongs to them now. At the meeting, Ethan defends her without details. He calls the allegations misleading, outdated, irrelevant. The board listens. Then one member leans forward. If your wife is a liability, the man says, we have to consider exposure. The room goes quiet. Ethan feels the weight shift. He understands the implication immediately. Distance yourself. Quietly. Protect the company. He does not respond right away. That afternoon, Claire receives an email from an unknown address. Attached are documents she recognizes instantly. Original files. Metadata intact. Proof that her case was manipulated. Someone has been waiting for this moment. She scrolls through. The evidence slowly pulls steady. This is what she lost everything for. Ethan arrives at the bakery just before closing. He looks tired. Older. They are pushing for a statement, he says. They want you to stay out of sight. Claire nods. Of course they do. They think this will pass if you do not speak, he continues. And if I do? She asks. He hesitates. If you do, he says carefully, they will come for everything. Claire turns off the lights one by one. They already are, she replies. That night, messages flood in. Some cruel, some curious, some pretending to care. Leo asks why people are saying her name on television. Claire sits beside him, choosing her words. Because I was quiet for a long time, she says. And people feel quiet with their own stories. Will you fix it? He asks. She kisses his forehead. I can try. The board schedules a public briefing for the following week. Ethan is expected to appear. Questions will be asked. Answers will be demanded. Claire reads the contract again. The silence clause has never looked heavier. She knows the math now. If she speaks, she violates the agreement. She risks financial ruin. She risks the bakery. She risks Leo's care. If she stays silent, she becomes the sacrifice that stabilizes the system. Ethan watches her pack files into a bag. You do not have to do this, he says. Claire stops and looks at him. I have done silence, she says. It does not end. Outside, the city hums as usual. Unaware. Indifferent. The backlash has begun. And Claire understands with absolute clarity that this is the moment her entire life has been building toward. The truth is no longer hidden. It is waiting, and very soon, she will have to decide whether to let it destroy her quietly or unleash it in the open. The briefing room is already full when Claire arrives. Cameras line the back wall. Microphones crowd the podium. Reporters murmur in low, impatient tones, flipping notebooks, checking phones. The air hums with expectation. This is not a trial, but it feels like one. Claire sits in the second row, hands folded in her lap, posture straight. She wears no jewelry except her wedding ring. Her face is calm, almost unreadable. Ethan stands near the front with his legal team. He has not slept. It shows. In the tightness of his jaw, the way his shoulders hold tension like armor. The board members enter last, expressions carefully neutral. The meeting begins with prepared remarks. Corporate language, risk mitigation, reassurance. Then the questions start. They do not wait long. A reporter raises her hand. Mr. Hale, can you address the concerns surrounding your wife's professional history? The room goes still. Ethan opens his mouth. Claire stands. Every head turns. Ethan looks at her sharply. This is not planned. Claire, he says quietly. She meets his eyes once. Then she walks forward. The sound of her footsteps echoes louder than any microphone. I will answer, Claire says, voice steady. Because I am the one being discussed. The board shifts. Lawyers whisper urgently. Someone reaches for her arm. She does not stop. Claire stands at the podium and places both hands on its edge. My name is Claire Hale, she begins. Before I own a bakery, before I marry a millionaire, I was a corporate attorney. Cameras click. I was accused of professional misconduct 3 years ago, she continues. Not because I committed it, but because I refused to ignore evidence of wrongdoing. A murmur ripples through the room. I was told to stay quiet, Claire says. I was told that silence would protect me. It did not. She opens her bag and removes a folder. These are original case files, she says, holding them up. Metadata intact. Communications altered after the fact. Evidence removed. The same tactics used today. Board members stiffen. I signed a marriage contract that required my silence, Claire continues. I did it to save my brother's life and to keep my bakery open. I did it knowing exactly what I was giving up. She looks directly into the cameras now. But silence does not make lies disappear, she says. It only gives them time. Gasps break out. Reporters lean forward. Ethan takes a step toward her, then stops. This is her moment. I'm not asking for sympathy, Claire says. I'm asking for accountability. From the people who destroyed my career, and from any system that believes a woman's voice can be bought and buried. A board member stands abruptly. This is highly inappropriate, he snaps. Claire turns toward him calmly. So is what you did, she replies. The room erupts. Questions fly. Voices overlap. Security moves closer. Claire raises one hand. I understand the consequences of speaking today, she says. This may cost me my marriage, my financial security, my business, but I will not lose myself again. She steps back from the podium. For a moment, no one moves. Then Ethan steps forward. I am terminating the agreement and withdrawing all enforcement, he says clearly. Effective immediately and without condition. The room freezes again. I authorized it, Ethan continues, and I revoke it. Any retaliation against my wife will be treated as retaliation against me. The board protests. Lawyers object. Ethan does not back down. This company will survive the truth, he says, but it will not survive another lie. Claire exhales slowly. She does not look at Ethan as she leaves the room. Outside, flashes explode. Reporters shout her name. Claire keeps walking. She does not know what tomorrow will bring. She only knows this. The silence is broken. And no matter what it costs her now, the truth is finally standing in the open, exactly where it belongs. The fallout is immediate, but the ending is not loud. It unfolds quietly over weeks. The board fractures before it reforms. 2 members resign. An internal investigation is announced, this time led by an independent firm with no ties to Ethan's inner circle. Documents Claire released become evidence, not rumors. The story shifts from scandal to reckoning. Ethan steps down as interim chair while the review proceeds. Not forced, chosen. For the first time since anyone can remember, he is not in control of the narrative. Claire watches it all from a distance. The bakery closes for 3 days after the briefing. Not because of protest, but because Claire needs to breathe. When she reopens, the line reaches the corner. Some customers come for bread. Some come just to look at her. Some whisper thank you without saying why. She does not give interviews. She does not need to. Leo's treatment continues uninterrupted. The hospital never questions coverage. No one dares. But Claire knows the money will not last forever. She begins planning again, the way she always has. One night, Ethan comes to the bakery after closing. No car waiting outside. No security detail. Just Ethan. He stands awkwardly near the counter, hands in his coat pockets. I'm not here as your husband, he says. Because legally, I am not anymore. Claire nods. And personally, I am here as a man who was protected by your courage, he says. And who owes you the truth? She gestures to the chair across from her. He sits. I built my world by controlling risk. Ethan continues. I believe that meant controlling people. You showed me the difference. Claire listens without interrupting. I lost influence, he says. I lost certainty, but I gained something I did not know I was missing. She meets his eyes. Accountability? Yes, he says simply. Silence settles between them. This time, it is chosen. I'm not asking you to come back, Ethan says. Not to the house. Not to the marriage. I'm asking if we can begin without contracts. Claire considers him carefully. You would have to be my equal, she says. Not my benefactor. Not my shield. I know, Ethan replies, and I am willing to earn that. She does not answer right away. Weeks pass. Claire testifies quietly during the investigation. Her name is cleared publicly, not dramatically, but officially. Her record is restored. Offers begin to arrive from firms she once admired. She turns them down. Instead, she takes on one case pro bono, then another, advising small businesses, helping people who cannot afford silence. The bakery survives. Some days barely. Claire still wakes before dawn, still counts costs, still works the ovens herself when staff does not show. It becomes more than a shop. It becomes a place where people linger, where truth feels possible again. One evening, as Claire locks up, Ethan waits outside again. This time, she invites him in. They talk. Not about money. Not about power. About mornings. About failure. About what it costs to tell the truth and what it costs not to. When Ethan reaches for her hand, it is not an agreement. It is a question. Claire lets him hold it. Not because she needs saving, but because he finally understands that love, like truth, cannot be bought. It can only be chosen. And for the first time, they're choosing each other freely.